frigid, snowy Detroit, Michigan, home to the Detroit Lions in a must-win contest if they have any designs of winning the NFC North. Matthew Stafford coming to work today, getting set to take on the Chicago Bears, and Mitchell Trubisky.
There you go.
There he is in the tunnel of Ford Field. A great fun double dip on Saturday, coming up on NFL Network.
Only on NFL Network.
With just 3 weeks until the playoffs, division rivals collide.
Keep playing your ass off.
It's a must-win Motor City matchup for the 7-6 Lions.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
And a first-place battle at Arrowhead.
Let's go live.
Where the winner takes one step closer to the AFC West title. Plus, hope is renewed in Dallas.
Rod Smith into the end zone.
Will Dak and the boys run the table for a postseason encore? Meanwhile, the Killer Bees are buzzing. Will the NFL's hottest team keep rolling in tomorrow's epic clash with the reigning Super Bowl champs? Week 15 continues right here on NFL GameDay Kickoff, presented by KFC.
They're in our house. Let's get this win. Now let's go. Let's get it, man. Let's go.
Welcome to NFL GameDay Kickoff, presented by KFC.
The Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears, an old school rivalry.
Detroit, they clean too, man.
Getting
I never
set
had
to
one of
go.
those jackets.
From back in the days of the NFC Central, or I guess isn't it Berman called NFC North? Yeah, welcome to NFL GameDay Kickoff, presented by KFC. I am Rich Eisen, and that is Michael Irvin, and getting set for a big game in the state of Michigan, wearing his finest from the Tom Izzo collection. Steve Mariucci.
Yeah.
Is that your?
I just talked to him. He was on the bus going over there to Little Caesars Arena, right?
Yeah.
After the Wolverines kind of
Yeah,
won.
beating up on Detroit.
But he said Jim Caldwell, staying in the same hotel downtown, came and visited him and his team, all right?
Is that
really?
I don't know if he visited your team.
Oh, that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, a little Izzo magic might be in the Lions' back pocket. It's amazing that Izzo would even talk to anybody part of the Lions organization after what happened with Houston.
It was all good.
That's the way we're starting this show, baby. You got the Lions in the 8th seed, and sure enough, the Vikings are interested observers. Should the Lions lose today, that gets them one step closer to winning the NFC North Division. As you can see, the Vikings are 10-3 and in the 2 seed. Randy Moss is in Detroit, Michigan for us. Randy?
Well, now that Matthew Stafford's throwing hand is apparently no longer an issue, the Lions' biggest injury concerns were along the offensive line. Right tackle Rick Wagner will miss his 2nd straight game with an ankle injury. Now, center Travis Swanson out with a concussion. Last week, the line played very well. In fact, Stafford had his first sackless game of the season and had plenty of time to throw. However, that was against the Bucs, who have the worst pass rush in the NFL. The Bears, on the other hand, are above average in that category, Rich, so they could provide a bit more of a challenge.
Thank you, Randy. I think that was Kurt Warner you saw ambling about in the background. He'll be joining us shortly. He's calling the game with Tirico later on today on this network. Yeah, the Chiefs and the Chargers are tonight. That'll be Greg Gumbel and crew with the call there. As you can see, the once upon a time 0-4 Chargers and once upon a time 5-0 Chiefs now have the same record. Huge AFC West game in that stadium behind Terrell Davis and Amber Theo-Harris. Amber?
Well, Rich, we are getting ready for that huge matchup. As you mentioned, it's still about 6.5 hours before game time, so it's quiet out here right now, but playoff implications on the line with my Hall of Famer, Terrell Davis. And Terrell, it's easy to say, yes, the Chargers are the hot hand right now, but you spent 7 years in this division, mind you, with Super Bowl caliber Broncos teams, and you said to me, for visiting teams, this place is the house of horrors.
It is the house of horrors here, Amber. You know, I started my career here 0-3 in this very building behind us. And the issue is this. When we lost that last game, the third of the losses, we walked out of the building. We felt that we can beat this team back in this building if we had a chance to play them here. and we played them in a playoff game here, and we won that game. The Chargers lost to the Chiefs.
Early in the season.
They haven't won here since 2013.
Well, you're talking about the 97 season, right? And you mentioned that was a regular season loss for you guys, and that you had a mental switch. You guys said that when we go to the playoffs, we're going to win here. Can the Chargers, these Chargers today, make that same mental switch and declaration?
Yes, they can, because I've spoke to Anthony Lynn, and I know the mindset of this team. They're a tougher bunch right now. This team lost to the Chiefs early in the season, but with that loss, they felt good about that because Phillip Rivers turned the ball over 3 times in that game. If he didn't turn the ball over in that game, they would have beaten the Chiefs. So they feel real good about this rematch that they're playing here today.
And, man, what that would do for this team's momentum to continue that storybook turnaround as they are winners of 4 in a row. But Rich, the Chiefs have won the last 7 matchups between both of these teams. So don't forget about that.
Right.
Back to you, Rich.
Yeah, and then that Week 2 game, though, as you guys were alluding to right there, the Chargers were a totally different team. The Chiefs were a totally different team, although the Chiefs did resemble somewhat that 5-0 team in that big win that they had to have.
Well, they're back
last week. You would say they're back?
Oh, they're back.
Okay, so I would follow up with that, but that's not the topic bar.
We'll get to that later.
Swing the topic bar.
They are swinging back.
Actually ask that question. What are you looking forward to today? Is that it? That the Chiefs are back?
You know what I'm looking forward to today? You know, when it's crunch time, quarterbacks have to step up and play their best ball. And you mentioned Mitchell Trubisky. I like when you say that, Rich.
Okay.
You know, he's having, a pretty good rookie season. In the last 2 games now, he's on fire with a 78% completion percentage and 113 passer rating. And how about Matthew Stafford? He's having one of the best seasons, maybe his best of his career, and he's starting for the 110th time. And then the other guys in the late game now, the veteran guys, Alex Smith, who was once an MVP candidate. Yeah, he's getting it back a little bit. And now Phillip Rivers, who comes storming back after 0-4, he now becomes an MVP candidate the way he's been playing lately. So I can't wait to watch these 4 quarterbacks carry their football team.
And for me, the first game, first of all, will we get any running game out of the Detroit Lions? And on the other side, you got to be so impressed with what they're doing in Chicago with the running game, even though you got a rookie quarterback at quarterback. But, boy, I tell you what, this game right here, this Kansas City and San Diego game, just looking at the journeys, I think it's the most incredible thing. This is a Kansas City and San Diego game. Kansas City and Los Angeles.
I'm going to keep score. That's twice.
We were just talking about this in the break.
They put it in your ear gate. And it went into your ear gate, to your mind gate, and then your mouth gate.
We were just calling them San Diego. Well, the Los Angeles Chargers is going to be huge, man. I love the journeys. Both of these teams, 0-4 starts, 4-0 starts, and right here, right now, we get a game for first place. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and just we'll keep reminding you of what's at stake here because, again, the Chiefs won in Los Angeles earlier this year, and if they win tonight, they sweep the season series, having split with their next closest competitor in the Raiders, who have the Cowboys on Sunday night. That's how we're rolling here on a busy Saturday. Golden Tate arriving for work in Detroit. Big week. Jack Morris, Alan Trammell in the Hall of Fame, the Lions, and a big day in Detroit.
We got to put a time limit on it.
NFL Game Day Kickoff is presented by KFC. Fill your family's mouth stockings with a $20 fill-up. It's finger-licking good. And brought to you by Verizon. Best gifts on the best network.
There's Detroit, Michigan, start of a fun doubleheader. The NFC North and AFC West on display today, right here on NFL Network. After last week, Week 15 has some large shoes to fill.
Breeze looking. It's intercepted by Deion Jones.
Newton fakes to Stewart. Will run the inside to Newton. Taken down the 8-yard line.
Handoff Stewart. Leaps up to the goal stripe. Ball got knocked away, but they indicated touchdown.
Quick toss. Adams left side for the touchdown. And the Packers have won.
This is Rod Smith. Touchdown of 81 yards.
Touchdown to Leonard Wester. Kick by Prater is up, and it is good.
Lockett wide open, makes the catch. Touchdown, Seattle. 4th down and 9. Wilson throws incomplete out of the reach of Doug Baldwin.
Carson Wentz is out for the game with a left knee injury.
Back goes Goff. He steps up. He's hit. The football is loose. As the Eagles defeat the Los Angeles Rams.
So the Eagles survived in Los Angeles despite Wentz going down in the game, and now we all know he's done for the year. While the Rams and Seahawks play each other this weekend in a marquee NFC event, we watch Nick Foles and the Eagles visit the Giants, who are way out of the picture right now. Cynthia Freeland puts the rest of the NFC playoff picture through the prism of the Wentz injury into the game theory.
The NFC playoff picture dramatically changed in Week 14, especially when you factor in the season-ending injury suffered by Carson Wentz. And no team on the outside looking in on the playoffs will benefit more than the Dallas Cowboys. Sean Lee's on-field presence gives the Cowboys nearly a 70% chance to beat the Raiders this week. With Ezekiel Elliott returning for Week 16's matchup against the Seahawks, my model gives the Cowboys a 58% chance to knock off a banged-up Seattle team. Dallas will wrap up the season versus the Eagles, where their chances of winning have increased to 54%. Winning their final 3 games puts the Cowboys' record at 10-6, likely vying with the Falcons for the final playoff spot. Since Atlanta already beat Dallas and holds the head-to-head tiebreaker, the Cowboys' best chance to make the playoffs is to finish with a better record. The good news is the Falcons have less than a 50% chance to win 2 of their final 3 games, which means they'd finish with only 9 wins. The key for the Cowboys is getting to 10 wins. If they don't win out, they don't make the playoffs. But according to my model, no team on the outside of the playoff picture has a better chance to make it than America's team.
All right, as you can see, part of the reason why Cynthia's projection model has the Cowboys a 69% chance of winning in Oakland is because that guy was heading on a plane to Oakland, that guy being Dak Prescott.
Yes. Man, he played.
Now, I know you were sitting there watching Ezekiel Elliott video from earlier this year, and you're like, okay, this is it. This is the last game.
This is it, man.
They get through Sunday night, then they've got the Seahawks at home, and then they've got Philadelphia with Nick Foles.
Yep.
You think they make it? What do you think?
You know what? Listen, first of all.
Do you think they make it?
First
yes
of all,
no?
the question.
Think they make it?
Well, Cynthia just said they had a great chance, and they're benefiting the most from this.
What does your analytics say?
Well, my head or my heart. My head or my heart, my head. But actually, I do think they have a great chance of making it. And I think it's I started this show out talking about the journeys of the Chiefs and the Chargers. Look at the journey of the Cowboys. We just talked about it, man. First of all, after Sunday, the Zeke stuff is over. And they treaded water to stay here this season. It's been a tough season, but to have it over with and moving forward, this opportunity I think is great. Even looking at the whole Zeke situation, in the Sean Lee situation, those are 2 of the catalysts on the football team. When Sean Lee was out, the defense actually started playing better football. And now he comes back. You elevate the game without the star on your unit, without Sean Lee. And now can you elevate and continue to play this well when you put that star back in the unit? That's what the Cowboys are doing on defense. And on offense, I saw the same thing out of Dak Prescott last week, Coach. Yeah. I saw growth out of Dak Prescott. The way he got Rod Smith in position and got Dez Bryant in position to make those plays, those touchdowns, those big touchdown throws. So now you get Zeke back. They should be able to take off.
Hold on a second before you go.
So the answer is yes, Rich. Don't ask me that question. The answer is yes.
That's what I'm about to say, because the topic bar still is a yes or no question on it.
Rich,
do you say yes? You say yes.
I said it's a great opportunity.
What do you say, Steve? Not so fast, Kowalski. Here's the thing. 3 things have to happen, all right? Number 1, Zeke has got to be in shape when he comes back. I don't know what he's doing right now. I hope he's training hard so he doesn't blow a tire when he comes back.
But you don't think Alfred Moore's been running well enough? Okay. Even getting Zeke back is going to change.
Sean Lee has to play every game in my mind. They're not as good on defense when he's not playing. Right. And they have to be 10-6. They have to be 10-6. And that's still no guarantee that they will make the playoffs because they lose the tiebreaker with Atlanta. Atlanta's beat them already. And Green Bay. And so, and it's not going to be easy. I think they can beat Oakland, without Amari Cooper. Then they host Seattle. That's a good football team now. And then they go to Philadelphia. And you know what? Nick Foles is not chopped liver. I don't know where that saying ever came from. But he is not chopped liver at Philly. And they're going to want the #1 seed. So this is tough, man, to go 10-6 and get some help as well.
And I'm looking at Atlanta has to go to New Orleans.
Yeah. No, they have a tough road.
They got a tough road. Aaron Rodgers comes back. But you got to play against two of the best defenses if you're Aaron Rodgers in the National Football League to get through those wins. And that's what Cynthia, when she makes that assessment, that's what she's looking at. I'm looking at the same thing, like, whoa, first, these two teams, they're going to be beating up on each other. That'll give you a shot. And to go through Minnesota and to go through Carolina, that's going to be tough for Aaron Rodgers and the Dallas Cowboys. By the time they get to Philly, that game should be for nothing.
Yeah, Atlanta's at Tampa this Monday, then they're at New Orleans, and then they're home for Carolina to finish up.
Right, they got some
While
tough
Green Bay is at Carolina, then home for Minnesota, and then they're at Detroit, where our doubleheader kicks off today. The Lions drum line. Oh, yeah. I've got nothing to say except that they are drumming. All similar. Is that what they're doing?
Saturdays with the NFL Network. I can get down with that. PL, Lions and Bears where animals fight in the jungle. Carry a team, cause this ain't the time for a fumble. No. Detroit trying to shake in the playoffs. It's time for the rumble. Detroit, you ready? But Chicago was blocking the way to remind them be humble. Yeah. Hold on to your seats. They finally meet. Chargers and Chiefs. It's about to get deep. The West AFC. Who wants the lead? Look. If you ain't looking for the action, go that way. We lined up with a savage play. NFL Network Saturdays like, man.
Again, we're taking you right up to kickoff of the start of the doubleheader. The Lions need this one to stay alive in the NFC North, and then the winner of the AFC West, it goes a very long way based on tonight's game in Arrowhead. Randy Moss, you are in Ford Field. Take it away, sir.
So far, Bears quarterback rookie Mitchell Trubisky has played in 9 NFL games against 9 different defensive coordinators. Today, though, Trubisky has a graduation of sorts. 4 weeks ago, Trubisky and the Bears played the Lions. The Lions won that game 24-21. That means that Trubisky now, for the first time, gets to face a defensive coordinator for a second time. In other words, this week, the rookie has been able to go back and watch tape and study what the veteran, in this case, Lions defensive coordinator Terrell Austin, tried to do to him the first time around. Rich?
All right, and then you've got the AFC West. That's some good nugget right there.
That is a good nugget.
Trubisky. So the Chiefs and Chargers, back in week 2, the Chargers, their home opener in StubHub, we all found out that there are a lot of secondary ticket market folk getting ready to show up in Southern California. But guess what? The Chiefs, after winning that game, going on a 5-0 start, and the Chargers, that was part of an 0-4 start, they meet in this stadium tonight with the same record. Who knew?
Incredible.
The AFC West on the line. Now, the Chiefs back after what we saw last week at home, part of 3 in a row in Arrowhead, outside of which Amber Theo-Harris is hanging on.
Rich, I'll tell you, AFC West grudges die hard because the first wave of Chargers fans have already showed up here at Arrowhead, and they were talking smack to Terrell Davis. He hasn't taken a snap. I mean, you haven't played a game since 2001.
No, but they have invaded this stadium right now. Look at them in the background. All Charger fans.
We're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, and 2 games ago, we see Andy Reid hand over the play calling, and it appears the offense finds new life under the offensive coordinator. So are they back?
Their offense is back. I mean, the offense looks like the offense we saw in the first couple of games, right? When they were 5-0, the deep shots down the field, the big plays. We saw that first early in the season. That disappeared during that stretch. Now, you see the last 2 weeks, even though they didn't beat the Jets, that big play capability came back. And so now, yes, is their offense back? Absolutely. Now, I don't know about their winning ways. I know they won last week, but can they carry that over to today? I don't know if they can win this game.
Well, more importantly, Kareem Hunt had a big game against the Raiders, 116 yards. Let's see if he can keep that going against a very tough Chargers defense. Rich?
And then after this game, Amber, you've got the Miami Dolphins coming in, and then the Chiefs finish up on the road at Denver. It's greatness on the road right now. Who's your favorite to win it all in this division?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay with right here with the Kansas City Chiefs, and this is a coin flip because you're talking about 2 really good football teams. Several reasons. The Chiefs will have 2 home games, right, going down the stretch at Arrowhead. That's quite an advantage, all right? And then they have Marcus Peters coming back from suspension. He's a good player.
Good player.
Darrell Revis now, he's played a couple games. He's starting to play the entire game. They should have some real good bookend corners to slow Phillip Rivers down, because Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen are just balling right now, aren't they?
Man,
this last month. So you got a couple of great corners here that can slow down Phillip Rivers. And I just think that if Kansas City, this game's everything, people, because both of these teams should win the next 2 games. This game means everything. It's like a playoff game in December, right? So it's going to be big, but I think the advantage is Chiefs. 2 home games, Arrowhead, and they're hot right now.
And I would have leaned on you, because I vacillated back and forth on this, if that weather had helped the Chiefs out. But it is perfect in Kansas City right now at 57 degrees. And that's perfect weather for Phillip Rivers to do his thing and do his dance. And he's been dancing like I don't know what with Keenan Allen. I'm talking about Keenan Allen, and I have to say this because we talk about it. You know, we always talk about who's the best receiver out there. Keenan Allen is in this conversation of the top 4 receivers in the National Football League right now. And when you look at it, I mean, this dude is first on everything in third down. First in receptions, first in yards, first in everything. He's first in getting first downs on third down. When you're doing that, you're giving yourself more opportunities, and they're making plays. I'm taking San Diego right now.
Yeah, after this, the Chargers had to. Very good, San Diego. That's
Coach keeps marking this down.
Please keep
Every time I say San Diego, I'm taking LA Chargers.
I'm trying to catch in the picks race, so please keep taking a team that doesn't exist anymore. And then the Chargers head after this game. They go to MetLife, where the comeback started in a Week 5 win over the Giants.
What is this?
What is zip lining in 30-degree weather? Check out who earned the title of Courtyard's Greatness on the Road Player of the Week every single week, starting on Monday morning. Go to NFL.com/GOTR for that. Matthew Stafford. Okay, so now it starts with the fingers, and then you start waving the arms back and forth like you're doing semaphore.
Wait.
That's the way it goes. And you stare at the ground.
Come on, let's do the rotator cuff thing. Come on, do it, Matthew. Do it.
I will beat the Bears.
Do it.
I will beat the Bears.
Coming up on NFL Game Day Kickoff.
So let's get crazy.
After a frustrating defeat in Miami, will Brady get back to form in Pittsburgh with AFC supremacy at stake?
Yeah, and I think, yes.
Meanwhile, first place in the NFC West is on the line at CenturyLink. Are the upstart Rams set to claim their first division title since 2003? And with AFC West control up for grabs, will Phillip Rivers and the red-hot Chargers extend their win streak and move past their division rivals in Kansas City? All that and more when NFL Game Day Kickoff, presented by KFC, rolls on.
Yes, Ford Field. Look at the city of Detroit covered in snow. Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons now all play within mere miles of each other. Fantastic. Great city, great American city is the host of the kickoff of an NFL Network doubleheader today. For veteran defensive tackle Haloti Ngata, being an active member in the community runs deep in his roots, inspired by his mother's commitment to education and his family's participation in the community. The 5-time Pro Bowler started the Haloti Ngata Family Foundation. 2007 Man of the Year Jason Taylor sat down with this year's Detroit Lions nominee for Walter Payton Man of the Year.
My parents were huge community service people. I learned a lot from them, and understanding that service is a huge part of helping this world be a better place.
Your mom, Ofa, had started this program back in Utah. It went on for so long, you had no idea she even was doing this?
It's funny because it started with me. I failed at ATT 2 or 3 times. She realized it wasn't only me, that there was other kids in my situation that didn't have funds to pay for prep classes.
Halote's mother saw a need many years ago for kids who were struggling with an ACT score.
I had no idea that this thing was going, and once I found about it, it just made it easy for me to, help that thing continue to move along.
How many kids have you impacted with this program?
So we've helped about 600 students in 3 school districts and 2 states so far.
Almost every section went up to a 30. The people who teach it care, and if you're willing to put yourself out there and willing to put in the work, it shows you care.
It just makes me just really excited to see what we can do and how many kids we can help.
I just want to give a shout out to Ofanata because her legacy means, I don't mean to cry, that I have 80 kids who are on their way to college.
It's not a dream. Tell us about what that is and really how special it is.
Kids that, have terminal illness or some type of cancer, and so with someone is great in school and does well in the community too. So we fly them in, and then they'll come to the game, be on a pregame sideline. After the game, we'll take them out to dinner. I'll hang out with them, talk with them, get to know them. It helps me, seeing, these special kids, but I think a lot of it is what it's doing to my kids. My son's end of the year speech, they do it every year at their school, and he said, I want to be a football player when I grow up, and I want to help cancer kids. That made me really proud, because that's what I want to do, just be able to my kids to follow my footsteps, and even when I pass, my legacy can live on through them. And so that's what I feel like I'm kind of doing with my parents, living their legacy, and then hopefully they can do the same thing as they grow and get older.
Well done, Haloti Ngata. And in the spirit of his Tongan origins, Haloti hosts an annual luau to raise money for the College Preparation Fund. The big man himself puts on a show by performing the traditional Tongan warrior dance, all in the name of giving back. Unfortunately for the Lions, he's on IR and out for the year. He will not be trying to prevent Jordan Howard from dashing through the front seven in snowy Detroit, putting a major crimp in its playoff plans.
NFL Game Day Kickoff is brought to you by Bose, official sound of the NFL, and by Courtyard, official hotel of the NFL. The Bucket List is brought to you by KFC, because no matter what year it is, fried chicken and football are a winning combination. Time for the Bucket List, presented by KFC.
Okay, so while we're focused on the AFC West tonight, the entire AFC shooting match appears to be up for grabs tomorrow in Pittsburgh. The winner will be in front of everybody with 2 weeks to go. Should Pittsburgh win and then Jacksonville lose later in the day, the Steelers would clinch home field throughout the entire AFC playoffs. Obviously, New England with a win would take the AFC East. It is still would be an open matter for them taking the entire AFC for the home field advantage in Gillette for weeks 16 and 17. When it all comes down to it, as we know, the Steelers have had a problem beating the New England Patriots, Steve, more often than not. How can they finally get through it tomorrow afternoon on CBS?
Well, I think they can. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring football game. Yes. In fact, the two punters don't even show up because you're not going to be on the field at all, because most of these teams, this is going to be a double 40-burger, Mike, I think. Both high-powered offenses. And talk about those killer bees. Antonio Brown is leading all receivers in receiving yards and receptions. Come on. You can't stop this guy. He's unbelievable, all right? And then the runner, speaking of triplets, the runner, Lev Bell from Michigan State, all right? He's leading the league in rushing. And Ben Roethlisberger's second only to Tom Brady. But in the last 8 games, Ben is the best quarterback in the National Football League statistically. So you're talking about a high-scoring affair. Which quarterback will have the ball last? And I think they're going to have to outscore the Patriots because Gronk's coming back and they will score points.
And Gronk's coming back is an important part of that whole conversation, Coach, because when I watched last week, and I mean, that game was, we knew it was going to be an emotional game between Pittsburgh and Baltimore because of Ryan Shazier. And after all the emotions subsided and everybody got to playing football, boy, I noticed, boy, you missed Ryan Shazier. Oh, my God, they missed him. It's just not the same. Baltimore was able to get to the edges. They were able to run the football. And in the middle of the football field, Pittsburgh left the middle of the football field open. You don't think Bill Belichick is saying, Grunk, you're back? And that's where we're headed with you, right towards the middle of that football field, and take advantage of that missing Shazier.
That said, Kenyon Drake looked very Le'Veon Bell-like on Monday night against this Patriots defense, and now the genuine article's coming down. But you don't want to play the game of the greatness of players and where they went to school in this game, Steve. in this particular game, unless you want to talk about the guy with the most Super Bowl rings of all time at the position.
Okay, touche. Nice one. That's a good
going
comeback.
to a certain school of higher learning.
The greatest ever.
In the state where our doubleheader begins today.
Well, there's
What's
the Georgia Bulldog. There's the Georgia Bulldog.
And they're taking on Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl.
We got a couple Georgia Bulldogs in the studio.
We have their baseball team here today.
Let's change the subject. Okay. And Goff and Wentz are going to Seattle in a huge game. And, Steve, you sat down with Pete Carroll.
Yes, I did.
Game day morning tomorrow. Here's a little taste, a little nugget, a little tease.
Show me. Tell me what's the most impressive thing you've seen Russell Wilson do on the football field.
As soon as he takes off, I think something good's going to happen. I tell you. I'm not worried about him, doing the wrong thing as far as getting hit or getting tackled. He understands. He's proven that he gets it. But that's when the magic happens so often. And so when that happens, that's like, look out. The whole play starts over, and our guys know how to respond to him. And that's some where the real exciting things, are going to occur. So I get charged up by that.
Okay, so our Mike Garafalo tweeting out moments ago the official return of Aaron Rodgers to the Packers active roster. He is going to start tomorrow in Carolina. Packers and Cowboys both 7-6, like the Lions hoping to make a run starting this weekend. And then there's that Rams-Seahawks game coming up late afternoon.
How big is that?
Today, it's the 2-2 Seahawks trying to even it up with the 3-1 Rams in NFC West division action.
Todd Gurley reaching for the pylon. Touchdown, Todd Gurley. And so it was fumbled into the end zone, and that gives the Seahawks a touchback and possession.
Touchdown, Seahawks! And Blair Walsh kicks them into the lead. And right now, Warren, it's going to come down to the Seahawks defense.
Going to the end zone. It is incomplete off the hands of Cooper Kupp. A diving effort for what could have been the tying score. The result is a 16-10 bitter loss for Los Angeles.
So Seattle can go for the season sweep, which would be obviously just a monumental win for them because it would vault them into first place with 2 games to play. Now, of course, Seattle has to go to Dallas next week. That's a big Week 16 game. And now you got the NFC West right here. The last time those 2 teams played in Seattle, remember that was last year. We were there for Thursday Night Football. Jeff Fisher had just been fired. Jared Goff was kind of like Bambi. Remember, he got blown up on the sideline
right in front of us.
Right? Yeah. But he is just a totally different quarterback by Sherman, right? Who's not there. Neither is Cam Chancellor. Bobby Wagner might be the toughest loss of them all. He's currently questionable, while KJ Wright is doubtful for, again, Pete Carroll, who you sat down with for tomorrow's NFL Game Day morning. When it all comes down to it, what do you think about this game, Steve Mariucci?
Ooh, what a big game. And, the Rams, they lost this game, but we just showed Cooper Kupp's drop pass. That would have won the game for him. And you know what, Mike? The Rams turned the ball over 5 times in that game. They're not going to turn the ball over 5 times again. They come away from this game saying, we can win this game. We can beat these guys. We are better than they are because we match up well. Our defensive line matches up very well against Seattle offensive line. We'll take good care of the football. We'll score when we have to. And you know what? This defense of the Seattle Seahawks really banged up. They're really banged up, and the Rams are just high-flying, scoring 30 points a game.
Well, you could make a case that the Bobby Wagner could be the biggest loss of them all. Right there in the middle of that. He's kind of the brains of the operation, in a way.
Going to need him to track and keep down.
And KJ Wright, too.
You're going to need him. I think what they learned from that first game was, okay, the big bad bully is not the big bad bully anymore. Yeah. We should have won that game. I guarantee you. I'm on this football team. We go back and we look at that film Monday. Oh, my God, all week long, I'm thinking about, man, we should have beaten them. And when we see them again, we'll get them. And this is the again coming up right now. I'm reminding all my guys, remember what we said last time after this last game? Let's make sure we get them today. They are not the same team that we used to play all the time. We're not the same team. I think this Ram team go in there and take care of business, which I think will be great for them going into the playoffs, going into a Seattle situation and winning there.
And against that banged-up defense, the offense for the Rams gets healthier. It looks like Robert Woods is going to be back, and
that's key too, Coach. That's key.
He was becoming a #1 receiver before he got hurt. So that's going to be late tomorrow. And again, Game Day morning tomorrow. Steve Mariucci sit down with Pete Carroll. We look forward to that. Mitch Trubisky. I tell you, this John Fox, he better hope this is the guy, because if he's not the guy, then Fox is going to get that pink slip just like the rest of that team should. What's going on there? Although they did beat the Bengals last week. I like the Bears, actually.
Takes the snap, gonna throw, right corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Bears! Stafford with a bullet.
Playmakers make plays.
Touchdown, Kansas City! Good night! Cuts in for a touchdown.
And that is the way you answer, right back in it.
The 176th meeting between the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. It is a series that has been played since 1930. The only other thing I know established in 1930 is Steve Mariucci. Oh, gosh.
Rivalries reignite in Week 15 with postseason fate hanging in the balance. The Lions claw to keep pace in the playoff hunt. And AFC West foes fight for control of their division, plus an early Christmas present for the Pack. Will Rodgers propel Green Bay to the postseason? And as one stud signal caller's season resumes, another's comes to a crushing end. Is it over for the Eagles? Or will St. Nick keep the Super Bowl dream alive in Philadelphia? That's all ahead on NFL GameDay Kickoff, presented by KFC.
Let's roll, huh? Come on. Locked in, energy, let's go.
Started, time to press play. Plugging it in, level 10 to the earth. All eyes on me. All eyes on me.
Welcome to NFL GameDay Kickoff, presented by KFC.
Week 15 began in Indianapolis on Thursday Night Football, and now we've got two games right here on NFL Network today. Mitchell Trubisky of the Chicago Bears trying to win consecutive games. And as Randy Moss said in the first hour, this is the first time in his career he's facing an opponent for the second time. So he's got film of the last time they took on the Detroit Lions. And Matthew Stafford and the Lions defense certainly has to be prepared for that. Matthew coming off of a stellar game in Tampa in which he was questionable with a bruised hand today. He's not even on the injury report going into this crucial contest for one of three teams in the NFC sitting there at 7-6, needing to win out and get some help. The other ones are the Dallas Cowboys, who are going to be on Sunday Night Football, taking on a Raiders team that's desperate for a win. And then Green Bay, which put Aaron Rodgers on the active roster about 15 minutes ago, officially. The Detroit Lions taking on the Bears, where, as you can see, at 7-6, they need to win out, get some help. The Seahawks take on the Rams in a huge NFC West contest. We've got a big AFC West contest on tonight between the Chargers and Chiefs after the Lions and Bears are done. And Randy Moss is with the guy doing the color analysis for the game, Kurt Warner.
Oh, Kurt.
I knew him when. I knew him when, Randy Moss.
How about that? I'm hanging out with some pretty lofty company here. Well, we can put the Matthew Stafford throwing hand thing to rest, as you mentioned, Rich. Last week he may have been questionable. All he did was throw 36 completions, the most he's thrown in the last 5 years. He's out behind us right now, no tape on his throwing hand. So we can for sure stick a fork in that. But, Kurt, how significant are the injuries along the Lions' offensive line?
Well, it's their 9th different combination up front, so you always believe that's a factor. But when you have 9 different combinations, talking to Matthew Stafford, he's like, well, it's business as usual, that I can't worry about those guys up front. They've got to go up there. They're all pros. They've all been in there outside of Joe Dahl before. They've got to do their job, and I've got to do my job. And so we all know it's a factor when you're moving guys around and you're moving a guy from left guard to center. But the bottom line is we've got to be successful regardless of who's up front, and that's what they've done all year.
Now, you've studied up on both these teams. What's the most interesting thing to you about this matchup?
I'd say the most interesting thing to me is that they're almost complete opposites when you look at their teams. You look at the Detroit Lions, struggle to run the football, really up and down defense. It's all really about their quarterback and Matthew Stafford and how he plays. And then you go to the flip side and you go, well, the Bears, they're all about the running game and the defense and not so much about the quarterback. And so you look at this game and you go, okay, which team gets the most help from that other part? Is it Trubisky and the Bears? Does he come out and do more of what he did last week? Or is it maybe a little running game from the Lions or the defense making those turnovers like they have at times this year that ends up deciding this one?
And Rich, of course, as we've all mentioned throughout the day, right now the Lions are number 8 seeded in the NFC. They need to win out to finish 10-6, so this is definitely a must-win game for them.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And there's a lot of such games in the Week 15 docket.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah?
Just think John Fox and all of the Sean McVay stuff. That Sean McVay, what he's doing with the Rams, it's going to change a lot of things in this National Football League coming soon.
Well, certainly if you could take an offensive-minded head coach and attach
that's what I'm talking
somebody
about.
That you've taken at the very top of the draft and your entire existence.
That's what I'm talking about.
Development.
Right, that quarterback. That's it. It's going to change everything.
Right,
I'm telling you.
So then there's a big game tonight as well when we're done with all of this here in Detroit, Michigan. And Matthew Stafford, what do you think about his hand? Obviously they say there's much ado about nothing on that front today, but what do you think?
Well, I'm watching him warm up there. He was doing all of this stuff and everything, and he's not bandaged up or taped up like he was last week. He was taped up on his throwing hand last week, and I'm going, oh, geez, how are you going to throw the ball down the field? So what did they do? They threw the ball short, Mike. Yep. High percentage passes. Most of those 36 completions were short to intermediate, which is a smart game plan. Get it out vertically and play catch. And he was very good. And you know what? Another 30-second game-winning drive with a banged-up hand. This guy's phenomenal. They need to start faster than this so they don't have to rely on his excellence in the fourth quarter. But you know what? It didn't look like it's going to be an issue at all today because he's not even bandaged up. Let it rip.
Yeah, and they will let it rip. That's the only way they get it done. You heard Kurt Warner talk about everything for the Detroit Lions relies on Matthew Stafford. That's the only way they can win. Now, but I can't help but think about it. I just feel bad for the Detroit people. And it just seems like they've had some of the best at a lot of positions. You had Calvin at receiver, you had Berry over at running back. Now you guys, we just can't get it all together at one time in Detroit. For those Lions, they deserve it, those fans, Coach. So yeah, they're going to throw the ball around. That's all the way they can win.
Real quickly, why the Lions, you know what they need? They need a guy like Kamara. They need a guy like Dalvin Cook. They need a guy like what Kenyon Drake is. I mean, if you have, look at Kareem Hunt, we're going to see later on tonight. Right. Melvin Gordon, we're going to see later on tonight.
Amir Abdullah has been a pretty good back for him, but he's been hurt lately.
Yeah.
They need all hands on deck to win these games.
And I thought Abdullah would take them over the top when they first got him, just like Rich
Theoretic's doing a good job.
Well, again, that's coming up shortly, and then there's the night game. The Chargers may not be in San Diego anymore, but they're still the Chargers, and they're starting 0-4 and then going on a playoff run may just be the most Chargers thing a Charger team can do, with the case in point being the only team to make the playoffs after starting 0-4 are the 92 Chargers. But starting 0-4 and teasing a fan base with a playoff run may also just be the most Chargers thing a Chargers team can do. And tonight's game in Kansas City will go a very long way in finding out which Chargers team we're going to see in 2017.
See if he can make this a tie game. Kick is tipped, blocked, no good. End of the game.
The Chargers fall to 0-4. So what was a very favorable early season schedule does not break in their favor. There has been but one team in NFL history to have started 0-4 and make the postseason.
Going underneath for Gordon, has the reception. Touchdown, Charger.
That's how you do it.
Pursued by Bosa and dropped.
He's wreaking havoc.
Throws left, Keenan Allen. Touchdown, Charger.
Chargers win their third straight.
And that pass is picked off. And what a day this Chargers defense is having.
They have been outstanding.
To the house.
Phillip Rivers has been so on point in the recent weeks.
The Chargers, they will be tied atop the AFC West. They now have a winning record for the first time in the 2017 campaign.
And again, they're not in San Diego anymore, but they still have the earmark of a Chargers team, which is their record should be a little bit better than what it really is because they missed some field goals. They made some mistakes. And in the last 10 seconds of the first 2 weeks of the season were missed field goals. And then Phillip Rivers just went on a tear. They put their foot in the ground in MetLife. They beat the Giants, a game that changed the Giants season with Odell and Brandon Marshall going out for the season. And then the Chargers started winning some games. And then, as of a month ago, stopped losing games, period. So what turned this around, Steve?
Well, in football, there's never just one thing, right? There's a multitude of things, and starting off 0-4, the blame was going all over the place. Well, all of a sudden, this team is playing like a playoff football team. Keenan Allen, we had him on Game Changers. Remember, he had a bad knee. He's had a kidney. And he's healthy all of a sudden. 6'2", 210 pounds. This guy, they're moving him all over the place, and they're putting him in the slot. They're saying, hey, we don't need him outside all the time. Let's get a nice matchup problem with a big guy in the slot. And he's been off the charts the last month with Phillip Rivers playing mistake-free football. And you talk about Gus Bradley's defense. How about those pass rushers with Bosa and Ingram now? They're getting home. They're playing great defense. They're taking the ball away. They're the best turnover differential in the league lately, and so they're playing like a complete football team, mistake-free. I like their chances.
And they're not turning the ball over on offense. You know, the first 4 games, they had about 5 turnovers. Ever since then, the last 9, they only had 6 turnovers. So that now they're not turning the ball over. And Keenan Allen and boy, Phillip Rivers has been on a tear with this ball, throwing this ball all over the place. It's so funny because, you know, when they first got Anthony Lynn and my guys down there working with Anthony Lynn, working with the running backs, actually, Alfredo Roberts, he was talking about, man, we're going to run the ball, we're going to run the ball, we're going to run the ball. I said, oh, okay. And now that they know they got Keenan Allen healthy and back again, they're like, wait a minute, that has just been adjusted. We're going to win with this man right here. One of the best in the league, and that's exactly what they've been doing.
And they haven't forgotten about Melvin Gordon because always wide open, throwing the ball around helps the run game, too. So they're pretty darn balanced with Melvin Gordon and Keenan Allen and defense.
And I would love to see them win.
Don't forget the secondary, too. Only 2 receivers have had as much as 85 yards in a game against this Chargers secondary. One of them was Odell Beckham in that Week 5 game, and the other was Josh Gordon a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
For the Browns.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty salty in the secondary, too,
Amber Theo Harris and Terrell Davis are outside. What a beautiful stadium that is, right?
Ooh, and it's loud.
Home of the Chiefs. That's where Amber is.
Well, Rich, as you guys just told us, the Chargers certainly are supercharged, but if there ever were a circuit breaker, it is Arrowhead Stadium, a very tough place to play on the road. And so, Terrell, how do the Chargers get a much-needed road win?
Well, I'm going to give you 3 keys to this game, in my opinion, here. The first thing is Phillip Rivers. We talked about Phillip in the first game, 3 interceptions in that game. In the last 4 games, 0 picks. Now, in Phillip Rivers' career, he's never gone 5 straight games without throwing an interception. The Chiefs have intercepted Phillip Rivers the most in his career. So if he can go to this game and be clean, that's one. The second thing is get a lead. Going to halftime with the lead. This team is 6-1 when they go into the halftime with the lead, and that's what Anthony Lynn wants his team to do, go in with that lead. That's the second thing. The third thing, the most important thing, is their kicker, Travis Coons. Last week, 3 for 3. If he can go 3 for 3 in this building, with all those things happening, the Chargers will walk out here with a win.
And the good news is Arrowhead Stadium is enclosed, and it's windy.
Yeah.
We have gusts going on right now, so that could help him, but it helps both sides as well. And you couldn't tell that by looking at TD's hair, but it is kind of windy out here right now.
I pinned it back. That's why it's not moving.
He was going to go with a ponytail, just like Rich. Let's go back to you,
Rich. That's right. I'll tell you, look, it's an assignment perfect for a man that's follically challenged. Mitchell Trubisky, there he is, the number 2 overall pick in the draft with his 2nd game against the Detroit Lions. Jim Caldwell, the coach of the Detroit Lions, I'm told is an adorable shot. Yes, granddaughter. There's Grandpa Coach. Right there. And it looks like he's taught his granddaughter about the 4 points of pressure on that football.
That's so good.
That's awesome.
Coming up on NFL Game Day Kickoff. Better late than never. But is it too late for Rodgers and the Pack to make a postseason run?
We've done it before. We did it last year.
Meanwhile, this run cost Philadelphia its star signal caller. Find out how the Eagles can rise above the loss of Carson Wentz. And with the playoffs still a possibility for the Lions, will Matthew Stafford get off to a fast start today against the rival Bears? Answers when NFL Game Day Kickoff presented by KFC returns.
NFL Network Saturday special. It's Chargers. It's Chiefs.
Wait on 3, 1, 2, 3.
It's a showdown for first place in the AFC West.
Diving, end zone, touchdown.
Phillip Rivers and LA have battled back into the playoff hunt, but Alex Smith and the Chiefs are looking to take control of the division race.
Touchdown. All night long, man.
NFL Network Saturday special. When it's on, it's on. Tonight at 8, only on NFL Network.
Well, if Golden Tate and the rest of his teammates unveil any touchdown celebrations you haven't seen before, they may be courtesy of Boogie Down Brown, who visited the team this week, looking an awful lot like the brilliantly funny Keegan-Michael Key.
Boogie Down Brown.
They call me Boogie Down Brown. I love football, and I love celebrations. Hi there, Boogie Down Brown. I'm a consultant for celebrations. They shouldn't even have point after attempts anymore. What you should do is see who's going to have the best celebration. And if you don't have a good celebration, if it's not tantalizing, if it ain't scintillating, you don't get the 7 points.
What is this? Football. Wrong. I ain't asking you, I'm asking him.
Once you get in that end zone, it could be anything in the whole world.
A football?
What is wrong with y'all? This is a cell phone. Ring, ring, ring. What opponents should be thinking when they sitting across from you is, I never thought of dancing that way. Oh my goodness, they caught a fish.
The flip, boom, I'm in intense pain. Don't let nobody know. Dusty Rhodes.
These young men go out there and celebrate. That's my name on the line. In case you get traded. In case you get traded.
Thank you.
In case you get traded. I also happen to be in the organic pork sausage industry as well. So if you ever need my services, never hesitate to call.
Pork sausage.
That guy could do anything, and it would have me leaving laughing.
Boogie Down Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah,
Malaki.
Well, actually,
In case you ever get traded.
He's the one who gave you that first down one years ago, right?
He was a funny
Boogie Down,
dude.
as a much younger man, he visited you, and he said, "Go first down every time."
He's a funny dude, man.
Fantastic. At any rate, so let's return to the playoff picture here. Aaron Rodgers has officially returned. The Green Bay Packers are in Carolina, and then they're home against the team that knocked him out. And it has been a big, long time for the Packers to get from that point to this one.
The Packers and the Vikings.
These two teams, they just don't like each other.
Anthony Barr smacked Aaron Rodgers, and Rodgers is writhing in pain.
Brett Hundley on for Aaron Rodgers. Throws the out left side, tipped up into the air, intercepted. Brett Hundley deep over the middle, and it's intercepted. Under pressure from a blitz, he is hit and thrown down hard. Packers now have lost 3 in a row. If you turn the ball over 5 times in a National Football League game, you are not going to win that game. Hundley under center, he takes, hands it off to the outside, makes the turn, 20, 15, 10, 5, to the house, and the Packers have won. Quick toss, Adams left side to the end zone, and the Packers have won again.
Now you can at least entertain the conversation of bringing Aaron Rodgers back.
For Aaron Rodgers, next step is preparing to play this week, and that's what we're getting ready for.
Wouldn't be standing here ready to play if I wasn't confident I could go out there and play the way that I've always played. That's why I'm here, that's why we're cleared, and that's why I'm playing.
Well, we start the next gen presented by Mercedes-Benz segment with an old gen stat away. 3 and 4 is what Hundley went without Aaron Rodgers. 3 and 5 if you include the Minnesota game that he finished up. As you can see, going deep, that is the difference. Aaron Rodgers. Well, I mean, look. We don't need to tell the audience that's tuning in specifically to watch Lions football about Rodgers' deep threat ability and how he can actually wing it.
Hail Mary.
Certainly in that building on Ford Field. But long story short, it is against Carolina that he returns. What is the game plan? What do you think the game plan is?
It's very simple.
For Aaron Rodgers.
Protect Aaron.
Yeah, right.
Protect, protect, protect. And you know what? Nobody wants to be the guy that hits Aaron Rodgers and maybe gets him hurt again. So I expect a lot of holding penalties. He's offensive line. There's no way anybody's going to touch that guy. I expect a lot of runs being called. I expect a lot of short throws, quick throws. Get the ball out so they're not at his feet or hitting him late. Aaron Rodgers has to protect himself. Run out of bounds, throw the ball away a little sooner than he did against Minneapolis and then or Minnesota. And then you talk about the play caller has to protect him too, with how often he puts him back 7 steps. The defense has to protect him by keeping the score down so he doesn't have to throw it all over the place every time. So this is a protect, protect, protect game.
At least I believe that's what they go into the game thinking too, Coach. Even in the locker room, if I'm in the locker room with those guys, I'm telling you, I'm talking to my offensive line. Hey, you know how Aaron is. Let's go, man. We got to make sure that we're giving him all the time. Because, you know, sooner or later...
You're grabbing. I'm just telling you,
right,
grab their guys.
You do, yeah. I should make sure nobody hits Aaron Rodgers. But sooner or later, Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers. I guarantee you, man, he lives for these moments right here. And we talk about why is he coming back. I thought about this and said, man, if I'm a coach, I'm like, I don't know if I want him out here. This may be good. But I guarantee you, he made a commitment to his guys. He said, if you guys keep us in it until this game right here, I promise you I will be back. I guarantee you that commitment was made, and he's back right now.
Well, Green Bay went from 6-6 to the playoffs last year. They're going to have to do it again.
Yep. Aaron had to relax a couple years ago.
And then he had to run the table.
And then he had to run the table.
Relaxing to run the table.
I don't know what we're going to call this.
Well, he said he's not the savior, so maybe that's the phrase that'll get repeated over and over again. Obviously, they have to continue to win games in order to have a phrase. So what do you think? I'll ask you first, Steve, since Irv already put the Cowboys in the playoffs from 6-6. What do you got for me?
Can they make the playoffs?
Are they going to? Well, I guess they're letting you off the hook in a way by saying, are they going to make a playoff push?
Yeah, they're going to push. They're going to push.
Will they make
you're
the
talking
playoffs?
about a lot of 7
Let me change the
16s.
topic bar. I want a yes or no answer.
You got the Cowboys, you got the Packers, you got the Lions. Everybody's 7-6. They all need to win out. All right.
Yep.
And then even if they do, you're not guaranteed to get in at 10-6. But you know what? It's a long shot. They're going to take it with Aaron Rodgers. That it gives them their best chance. You know, they got to win in Carolina. This is the toughest schedule, right? Carolina in Carolina against a great defense. Then, the team that he got hurt against, the Vikings.
There we go.
He has to go there.
They changed the topic bar.
What do they say?
Well done, everybody in the control room. Are they going to make the playoffs? Yes or no?
So I just don't think so.
Okay,
I just think all the tiebreakers and all the records and everybody else that is ahead of them right now will get in instead of them, and it's a gallant effort.
Well, I mean, in the same way that Atlanta has a tiebreak over on everybody that's chasing them, Seattle and Green Bay and Dallas. You know, the Packers way back in week 1 beat Seattle. So they have that in the back pocket.
They beat Dallas.
Right. So should somehow, some way, things shake out where they have to be just one-on-one against Seattle for making a playoff spot. Yeah, they do have that
Detroit
in their back
in week
pocket.
17 again.
Yeah, but these next 2 weeks are going to be the test. If Aaron Rodgers is coming back and he's Aaron Rodgers, every time you say his name, and I say he's just a gift from God at the quarterback position, if he was coming back and maybe had a warm-up game before he goes into Carolina and Minnesota, just give him something. Give him last week's game. Let him warm it up. Let's see what he looks like. But this is a tough task going into Carolina. Carolina's coming off a big victory. And they're saying in the locker room, the big win we had last week against Minnesota is no good if we let this game get away. So this is going to be a tough task. But if anybody can do it, Aaron Rodgers can do it. I don't have him making the playoffs. But if anybody could do it, he could do it.
Okay, so while the Packers get their guy back, the Eagles lose their guy. And now we got to see how many games can Nick Foles win.
Wentz looks. He's rolling. He's going to run. Wentz goes into the end zone.
He took a big shot.
The one Eagle that you can least afford to lose.
The report I got was a torn ACL. I hate it for Carson Wentz. I hate it for the season he's been having.
When you think about the Eagles without Wentz, how far do you think they can continue this run?
Obviously, this is absolutely terrible. Our mission is not over. Everything we say we're going to do, we still can do. These teams out here that we have to go up against next, they can't beat us.
The reason we went out and got Nick Foles is for reasons like this.
I still think we're going to go far in this thing, even with Nick Foles.
My job right now is to step in the huddle and keep this thing rolling, and that's what I plan on doing.
Jeff Hostetler led the Giants to the Super Bowl. Foles can take us there. Screw this. This is our year.
So the Philadelphia Eagles can clinch home field advantage throughout the entire conference should they beat the Giants and somehow, some way, Andy Dalton bounced back from that horrible home loss to the Bears by beating Minnesota on the road. They get a first-round bye merely by beating the 2-win Giants in MetLife tomorrow. So now Nick Foles has one game of playoff experience the year that Chip Kelly got them 10-6 and in the playoffs. He lost at home to Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints, so Nick Foles was one and done. Now, how far do you think Nick Foles is going to take the Philadelphia Eagles?
I think he can take them far. I mean, far. How far? Maybe all the way. Okay, there have been a lot of backup quarterbacks. Don't give me. I'll get started on that list of backup quarterbacks that got to the Super Bowl. All right, but not right now. This guy, Nick Foles, has been in the Doug Peterson system longer than Wentz. He was with him in Kansas City. He's been 2 years over here. This guy gets it. He in 13 that season you mentioned, 10-6 for Chip Kelly. He threw 27 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions, 119 passer rating. Only 2 guys in the history of the world have been better than that. So he's been pretty good at times. He knows the system. It's a good fit for him. He's surrounded by a heck of a football team and coaching staff. He can take them far, I'm telling you.
And this is what they have to do. It says, how far will Nick take us? Let's not put it all on Nick to take us. Let's make sure that everybody else raise their level of play and make it easier, a little easier on Nick. Because there are certain things that Nick cannot do, that Nick can't do like Carson Wentz did. Carson Wentz extended plays, made you some great plays with his leg. Great plays. We showed that RP, or run pass option. Nick's a little slow in getting that, even though he got that completion to Alshon Jeffries. But Carson Wentz, he gets that thing in, out, get his feet around, and make the pass out front so Alshon Jeffrey can still run with it. I need the defense coach to help out here. I tell you what, defense, let's keep everybody, let's make sure we stop everybody from scoring, and let's get some turnovers and give him the short field so he doesn't have to make the long drive and he still can get there. And they can still get you to a Super Bowl.
And he's got a defense. Jim Schwartz's defense now, that front is scary. They got 6, 7 guys that are good enough to start for anybody, and they just keep rolling them fresh at you. They can control a line of scrimmage, a little bit like we saw Miami control a line of scrimmage against the Patriots. So if these two teams meet up, advantage Eagles if it's the Patriots. I don't know if it's going to be the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I tell you, when Nick came in that game last week, and at that first third down he threw to Nelson Aguilar, that was a great throw. I mean, that was like for the game. That was for like the game.
It was.
Jim Kelly used to run a little zone read with the kid.
That was a perfect throw.
He's stiff.
But there is no doubt, as you sing Nick Foles' praises,
a drop.
You were looking at that Week 17 potential must-win game in Philadelphia for the Cowboys, thinking much better to see Carson Wentz not be active.
But to that, Rich, I'm glad you said that because, and I was just talking to Coach about this because I got into it with people on Twitter. You know, because everybody, fans get going back and forth, and they were like, well, when Carson Wentz went down, well, you guys cheer Michael. I said, get out of here with that, people. Don't start that. This kid is one of our great young kids, just like him, Deshaun Watson. You don't ever want to see those kids get hurt. We want them on the football field.
So are you saying, and somebody from Philadelphia is saying you shouldn't be cheering someone else's injury?
Well, no. The Cowboys
kind of barking up the wrong tree on that front.
No, the Cowboys fans and Eagles fans were going at it, and the Cowboys fans were saying, this is what you guys get for cheering Michael. And I was like, shut up. We can't start talking like that. No, we want this young kid on the football field, man. He's great for the game.
How about Wentz? He gets hurt running in for a touchdown. It gets called back.
Yeah.
He stays in the game.
Well,
he calls a play, and he stood in there, and he throws a touchdown
and then
pass.
He played another drive, too.
I know it. That guy's a tough guy now.
Yeah. But it just is, just to put a button on it, a number of times that so many of us and so many in the booth and so many other coaches were saying, and observers, he's got to get out of bounds. He cannot go head first for first downs. You cannot dive for the end zone. That is the exact play on which he got hurt.
And these are the kind of things that
end zone's an end zone. All bets are off. You got to get it, Rich. Or first down or end zone. But upfield, the other 90%, take care of yourself.
Yeah. It is tough in this league, and I don't care who you are, how big you are. We're all learning this because we didn't have quarterbacks like Cam Newton and Andrew Luck coming in running with the kind of running ability and size. And then when we got them, we started saying, well, they're big enough, they can take this pounding. And now we've learned, no, they can't. I don't care how big you are. You cannot consistently take the pounding at this level from the quarterback position. And Carson Wentz, he'll understand that a little bit better now.
Yeah, Wentz played 4 more plays after he got hurt.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know. So, and then the Raiders take on the Cowboys, and then they visit Philadelphia. So the Raiders are going to see some NFC East action over the next couple of weeks, which for them might not be the best scheduling while they have to chase the 2 teams that are playing tonight on the back end of our doubleheader with a huge day with the Chiefs and the Chargers with the AFC West on the line. And then the 176th meeting between the Bears and the Lions to kick things off on a Week 15 Saturday. We've got it all here on NFL Network. Don't you dare move. We are taking up until kickoff of this game. That's it for NFL GameDay Kickoff presented by KFC. For the moment, presented by Mercedes-Benz. Football night in Detroit coming up on a Saturday afternoon.
NFL GameDay Kickoff is presented by KFC. A $5 fill-up makes a great gift to your mouth. It's finger-licking good. And brought to you by Microsoft Surface, the official sideline technology provider of the NFL.
Detroit, Michigan. Check it out. There it is, the RenCen and the rest of the downtown. Home of the Tigers, home of the Pistons, home of the Red Wings, home of the Lions. They're all there, Mooch.
A lot of homes.
Yep. Bears and Lions.
Motown.
Kicking things off on a Saturday.
Welcome to Football Night in Detroit, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Double dip, man. AFC West tonight, NFC North coming up in about an hour to kick off Week 15 Saturday style. Mitch Trubisky, Mitchell. Well, he was Mitch at the Combine, and then he became Mitchell by the draft.
And then
right?
Mr. Biscuit.
Now he's Trubisky, man. Trying to take down 2 opponents in a row, and then the Detroit Lions quarterback, who is over 30,000 yards in his career. That was going into this game, man. I feel like Gruden. Look, man, here we go. We got football coming up.
This thing is going.
It's a big hit. It's going fast.
I mean,
Week 15.
what year for Matthew Stafford? It's like he just got in the league.
He's got 110 starts in a row. 110. He just got there.
God almighty.
Rich Eisen, Mooch Irv. We're here football night in Detroit, even though it's an afternoon. Don't ask. But it is Week 15 double dip. We've got so much great stuff tomorrow on game day morning as well. At 9 Eastern time, we'll all be back here with Kurt, who's doing the game with Tarico. We'll hear from them in a second.
Come on home, Kurt.
The Lions at 7-6, a trio of teams hoping to win out and then get some help. Cowboys at 7-6 on Sunday Night Football on NBC tomorrow night. The Packers activated Aaron Rodgers within the last hour. Heather Cox is there for the Lions at 7-6, taking on the Bears. Heather?
Rich, Jim Caldwell knows what's at stake tonight, but he won't let his players talk about the playoffs, saying until we earn it, we can't actually talk about it. And he also says, you know what, we can't worry about the things that we can't control, but there is something they can control, or at least try to, and that's the Bears' 2-pronged rushing attack that torched the Lions for 169 yards the last time these two teams met. Now, Jim Caldwell calls them thunder and lightning. Jordan Howard, who's already eclipsed 1,000 yards rushing again this season, and Tyreek Cohen, the rookie, who has already scored four touchdowns in different ways. Now, as for Detroit's own run game, Amir Abdullah returns after missing last week's game, and we'll share time with Theo Riddick. Now, for more, let's go upstairs to Mike Tirico and Kurt Warner.
All right, Heather, thank you. Hey, thanks for letting me work on your network here.
Hey, my pleasure. I'm glad you came over and joined us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to calling the game with you. We're getting to do another one on Christmas Day. I want to pick up where Heather left off there, Kurt, because the Detroit running game, and you hear it every time you walk over the border from Ohio and come into this state. Hey, you know, the Lions don't have a 100-yard rusher in 65 games. You were talking to Matthew Stafford yesterday, and you guys were kind of connecting a little bit, because you know what it's like when you got to walk in the building and say, okay, this week I got to win the game, and okay, this week I got to win the game again. You know the feeling.
Well, I do. You talk about the running game first. I was on some teams that struggled running the football, and asking Matthew Stafford, okay, what's that like when they call a running play? Are you looking in there like, really? Can't you just let me throw it 3 times and we'll be good to go? But he was judicial in his answer, and in that little smirk that he had, he goes, I understand we have to run the football, but there's nothing like that pressure, because it's hard to really enjoy a win when you take that deep breath and then you go, all right, I got to go do it again. But the great thing about Matthew Stafford is he doesn't blink. No. He says, all right, give me the ball. I'm ready to go. I'll do whatever I have to for this team.
And you may know he hurt his hand a couple of weeks ago. It's much better, and he should be ready to go here today. Against the defense that they saw 4 weeks ago at Soldier Field, tight game, came down to a made field goal by the Lions, a missed one by the Bears. At the end, Detroit won that game. But that Chicago defense is pretty good. Vic Fangio, the coordinator, John Fox, the head coach, they know their defense, and they'll bring it here this afternoon.
They'll bring it, and they'll bring a lot of different things. things. You always think a veteran guy, he's seen everything. Well, they're going to test that. They're going to test Matthew Stafford to see, have you seen everything? They'll throw a lot at him and try to get 1 or 2 turnovers to help out that offense.
All right, Michael, I heard you say come home. We'll get Kurt back after you. And by the way, Mooch, I see your Spartan green tie for your buddy Tom Izzo, who 4 blocks away at Little Caesars Arena. They're up 5 at the half against Oakland.
And Mike, we couldn't help but
Keep an
notice.
eye on it for you, pal.
Mike, we couldn't help but notice. You're going double Paisley in the booth. You and Kurt, double Paisley.
Look a little too.
Holiday season.
Good lean in too. I like that. Good lean in. There's Tirico and
that's my dude,
Kurt
Mike.
going sometimes double Paisley. It's bold. Let's put it that way.
I should have green Paisley today. Anyway.
Dude, I can't believe you're going with a green tie. You do look like Izzo. I mean, for the whole thing, the whole
I'm trying to think, is that a compliment or not? I'm way taller than Izzo.
He's a longtime friend of yours.
Izzo's a good dude
So
too,
this
man.
is a monumental game. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. Because the Bears, as we know, would love to just stick it to the Lions today. And then it's the second, as Randy Moss pointed out in our earlier pregame show, this is the first time Trubisky's going to be seeing somebody for the second time, so you can actually get some tape in there. So are the Lions, however, when it's all said and done, we've hit on the 7-6 Cowboys, 7-6 Packers. Are the Lions a playoff team when it's all said and done?
Yeah, and I say it with...
We hear that. That's not
reluctance. They were 9-7 last year and made the playoffs.
Yeah.
9-7. Okay, then they got beat at Seattle. So they got a chance. They have to be 10-6, right? They'll have to be.
Yeah.
You got to beat the Bears at home with a rookie quarterback. Okay, that's a given, right? You got to do that, and then they can go beat Cincinnati. They're not that good right now. And then the big one against the Green Bay Packers in Week 17 again, and it's going to come down to a Hail Mary, I'm sure. And so they've got a lot of work to do, but yes, they're good enough to be a playoff team if they finish strong here, and that guy right there is the reason, Matthew Stafford.
It just seems like they're always hovering right around the 9-7, 8-8 mark, you know, just hovering around there. And when I look at it, you say, okay, are they good enough to get in the playoffs? Even if they do get in the playoffs, they've already lost to every team in the South, you know, that we're talking about all making a playoff possibility, having a chance to make the playoff. Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans, you already lost those games. You lose to Minnesota, you know, so these are the teams that are going to be in the playoffs. Even if you do make the playoffs, where can you go with this team? For some reason, to me, it just seems like Detroit's always missing just something to get in there. And I don't think they get in. And if they did get in, I don't think they go very far as constructed right now.
And I hope they don't wind up in a straight-up tie with Atlanta, because it would bring up a very difficult loss for them earlier this year. Remember the one where they thought they won it with no time left? Replay reversed it. So the Lions sitting there at 7-6, needing that win today. And there is Amir Abdullah. Maybe, just maybe, he can provide the balance that this offense is in such desperate need of. Back with more in a moment.
Football Night in Detroit is presented by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Okay, there's Ford Field right there. You can see those are the usual Honolulu blue uniforms. Looks like we have a gray rush out there for the Lions today.
Here's the playoff picture presented by Father Figures in theaters December 22nd.
Well, one of their dad's Steelers, potentially. There they are at 11-2 tomorrow against the Patriots. A huge late afternoon game for the whole AFC shooting match. As for the AFC West, that is on the line between a team once upon a time 0-4 visiting a team once upon a time at 5-0 in a game. Amber Theo Harris and Terrell Davis featuring 2 7-6 teams.
Well, Rich, both teams are trending in different directions right now, and it's easy to say that the Chargers are the hot team. But if you look 2 weeks ago when Andy Reid handed over the play calling to Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, we did see a different Chiefs team. So are they back because of that? And what was different against the Raiders?
Yes, they are back, and the difference is with that offense, you remember early in the season they stretched the ball down the field, which gave Kareem Hunt a lot of room to roam. Well, the last couple of games before last week, they went back to that. And so Kareem Hunt has been an integral part of that offense, getting back on track. He had 100 yards last week, and Alex Smith has been playing phenomenal football. So if they have that combination with Alex on the ball, not turning the ball over, and Kareem Hunt running, that means that team is back on track.
But the defense has been the Achilles heel. This is a 28th ranked
Yeah.
defense, and a lot of people are looking forward to Marcus Peters coming back, going up against Keenan Allen.
That's the matchup. I mean, the first game, Keenan Allen only 2 receptions in that game, and you talk about Marcus Peters. He's back from the suspension. He's a talented young cornerback, so if he can hold Keenan Allen to 2 receptions in this game, they
Maybe
might
the
win
Chiefs
it.
will be
Yeah,
back.
they can win that one.
But I know you're picking the Chargers.
Yeah,
You
of
already
course,
said
yeah.
that. We'll
Yeah,
get
I said
to that later. Rich.
Well, I mean, he did win his championship in San Diego, one of his championships in San Diego. Guys from San Diego, where the Chargers, as we all know, no longer play. Right, Irv? Even though, how many times has he called him?
Just 4.
I'm just sticking with
But he's been good
now.
the last hour.
Yeah, I'm just sticking with Chargers now.
Tonight's game, does the loser make the playoffs?
I think it would be very difficult for the loser now to make the playoffs. This is the game. This is the game. Now, I think both teams win out after tonight's game, but the loser will not make the playoff for me. And I think the Chargers have a great shot, Coach, going in. You heard TD talk about it. Yeah, Kansas City the last couple of weeks, they've gotten back to it. You know, they've gotten back to averaging about 28 points a game. The offense is coming back around. But the Chargers over the last 4 weeks, man, they're putting up about 33 points a game. So even though they made improvement, it's still not going to be enough improvement to get to the Chargers right now.
This is a loser leave town game, all right?
Yeah.
You know what that means?
Yep.
You got
win or go home.
Yeah, okay, but you're right. I think both of these teams will win their next 2 games, or should. However, when I dig deep into this, really deep.
Go ahead, dig.
Dig deep.
Unless the Tennessee Titans lose 2 games. And who do they play, Rich? They play at San Francisco, Jimmy GQ, all right? And then they got the Rams. That's a tough game. And they got the Jags. That's a tough game. So maybe, just maybe, a 9-7 team out of the AFC West gets in because Tennessee tanks it at the end. Hey, I'm just saying.
Wait a minute, but if we have the full AFC playoff picture, I mean, I think this is a de facto playoff game for the AFC West. That I believe. I believe that the AFC West, the loser of this game, does not have a chance to win the AFC West. But if you look at the AFC playoff picture, you see what's going on at the 6th seed right now. I mean, it's a wide open race. That the Ravens are currently at 7-6.
But the Ravens have games they should win. Cleveland, Indy, and Cincy. Okay, I mean, they have
how many times
favorable
have you seen teams
schedule.
lose games that they should win, and then you've got the Bills at 7-6. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I think 9-7 makes it as a 6 seed.
And so we got the NFC. It's cut off 10-6. You go 10-6. You're not getting in. Now AFC 9 is the different story.
I think 9-7 gets in and is a 6.
Good. They could.
I think
it'd be interesting.
All right, obviously, if the Chiefs win, they still have swept the season series from Los Angeles. And then that would pretty much wrap it up with 2 to play. Now, the Chargers win, and then obviously the Chiefs would have to be 2 better than the San Diego Chargers or Los Angeles Chargers the rest of the way. I just tried to cover it up. I did it myself. I just did it.
Good job.
All right, let's go to break. There's Mitchell Trubisky warming up in Detroit.
Man, he just looks like a Chicago guy.
He does.
He like a Chicago.
Howard and Cohen, a 2-man wrecking crew. Howard running right. Howard lunging right front corner. The speed and quickness of Cohen. Oh, yeah, the little guy is big man on campus. Busts into the end zone for the touchdown. That is a powerful run. And there you go, a fade to black moment at Soldier Field.
Howard and Cohen, like Christmas and Hanukkah, they go together.
Yep.
Cohen apparently is not a member of the tribe, I've been told.
Well,
I've checked it out, man.
Did you research it?
Oh, I mean, briefly. Okay. But these 2 guys as a running back core have been nothing short of spectacular. And Cohen has provided a burst in all facets of the game that we have not seen since Gale Sayers as a rookie for the Chicago Bears. I mean, that is a very respectable neighborhood for that young man. What do you expect from these 2 against the Detroit Lions today?
Well, I expect a big game against them. 222 yards rushing last time these teams played. But remember, though, 53 came from the quarterback. But this is a 1-2 punch, and it's a legitimate 1-2 punch. They feed them the ball. They don't rely on the passing game. They rely on the run game. They have tight ends, fullbacks, and they play smash mouth, bear football. And they try to play some good defense. So you're going to see a lot of touches between these 2 guys. And I expect the Detroit Lions to load up that box because they know they're going to have to run against a heavy box, 8 and 9 in there. But these two guys are pretty capable.
They did it last time, and these guys still was running everywhere. I mean, which is an incredible task and an incredible job by these guys because you know everybody's trying to stop the run and say make Mitch Trubisky beat us, and they've not been able to stop the run, knowing that's all you have. And I can't help but think how this does set up. You got a great run game. You already got that intact. Boy, it really sets up somewhere perfect for somebody else. John Fox has done a great job for some young offensive mind to come in there. Wow. He really has. He really has. Because you put a running game, and then you get a great offensive mind to go with your quarterback, you'll have something. These guys run well. They'll run well today.
They do a nice job of game planning and running against a loaded box, and they don't block the extra guy. You can't block everybody, but they block everybody else. These guys run to daylight, and they leave the unblocked man way the heck over there.
Right.
And they do a heck of a job with it, and they break into the secondary. They're hard to tackle in space.
And this doubleheader is chock full of fantasy football top draft picks. Jordan Howard and Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt as well later on, and Travis Kelce, and all of the Keenan Allen and Phillip Rivers. That's later on tonight. Howard and Cohen along with Stafford and Tate and Jones, et cetera, et cetera. So let's focus in on the key ingredients presented by Bud Light of the first game here. Dilly, sir, what do you have?
Yeah, we talked about it, man. We talked about those guys running Whitehead right here. It's up to this man right here to make sure they're not running wild like they ran wild last time. He leads the Lions with 86 tackles this season, Coach. This man right here. I like that mask.
What is that?
He's going to need. It's a beast mask because he knows he has to play like a beast today. That's what that is.
I'll tell you who has to play like a beast today is a corner, Darius Slay. I expect a lot of man-to-man today and have Glover in the box, Glover Quinn, so they can stop the run. But Darius Slay's got 5 picks this season. He's 3rd best in the NFL. That's a career high for this guy. He's never had a pick against the Chicago Bears. Maybe he gets one today.
Well, talking about it, that man right there, Glover Quinn, he does have 3 interceptions this season right now, 16 interceptions since 2014. That's 3rd in the NFL. He knows how to cover, but he knows how to catch that pass, too. Those are the dangerous dudes. Not the guys that just cover, but the guys that will intercept.
Mm-hmm. All right, and now on the offensive side of the ball, in the gray rush uniforms right there of the Detroit Lions, Golden Tate along with Marvin Jones. So you've got Tate the third going for one side of the field, and then you've got Jones on the other side of the field. And maybe they bunch them up and make all sorts of problems. How do they match up today?
Yeah, they match up well, especially when you have a hot quarterback like Matthew Stafford. He can get the ball in there anywhere, but Prince Amukamara and Marcus Cooper will have the dubious distinction of stopping these guys. It's not easy because this Golden Tate guy right here, he's quick, man. He's a good route runner. He gets off a jam,
and you know what? He's a yak, too.
Yeah,
he's
tough.
Yeah, after catch, he just keeps going.
He's this generation's, he really is for me when I think about it, like he's like this generation's Hines Ward for me, you know what I mean?
Wow, that's high praise.
Right, but he's a tough guy. He plays hard. He's gritty. He always give you everything he has. And since he's gotten to Detroit, I just thought he's been playing at another level since he left Seattle.
Remember when Megatron Calvin Johnson retired?
Right.
It's like, oh, jeez.
What are we going to do here now?
And then, this guy has more than picked up the slack because they use him differently than Calvin Johnson was used when he was just crushing it. And I think Matthew Stafford has become a better quarterback because of it, spreading the ball around to all of his weapons. But the go-to guy, Golden Tate, has really been a factor.
The Bears saw the Bengals last week. How do you think A.J. Green is missing Marvin Jones?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. You're right.
I mean,
you're right.
Because you see what Jones is doing is either the Batman or the Robin, however you want to view what they are in this offense.
You like him losing Alvin Harper. I mean, it's like, how did you do it, Mike?
Certainly when you're going up against Sehorn.
He's seeing both of his guys. He's seeing both his guys, Marvin Jones, Sanu. He's like, man, give me one of my boys back over there.
Somebody.
Right. They're both going to play Robins for other great receivers now.
I mean, think about that. Again. And then the Bears, as we mentioned, coming in off of that big win against the Bengals. I mean, perhaps finishing up strong, saving your coach's job, even though Irvin's fired John Fox.
No, I didn't.
He's taken 2 teams to the Super Bowl, all right?
It wasn't me. It's McVay. He's fired. He's doing the firing. Everybody's saying
he's not doing anything in the story. He's getting ready for Seattle. He's putting on a plane right now.
Why can't you do what Sean McVay?
You think there are a lot of Sean McVays running around at the mall? It doesn't happen.
They're out there looking for him, sitting in your resume.
Hey, this guy doesn't have his fingers taped up, all right? His hand is back, everybody, all right? He's slinging it.
You describe McVay like he's looking for his summer job at the Cinnabon. Maybe the coach of the year. But I guess he rode the buses when you were the coach.
Like you go find him anywhere.
Running around like a little kid.
Fine, dude. But and Rich, I'm telling you, you know that everybody with a young quarterback, that's what they're going in this offseason thinking. We got to find somebody that can turn it up.
Hey, look, it's a copycat league, and when you go and you choose a young, dynamic guy that's never done it before.
And then you see this quarterback.
Well, and then if Kyle Shanahan gets it turned around there with Jimmy Garoppolo, they're going to be saying, there it is. There's 2 prime examples of young quarterback gurus scoring points.
Tacking on with their quarterbacks and bringing the best out of them. It'll be the way.
Well, that's true. The Bears' offense has come a long way since the Mike Glennon era of the first third of the season. So we will see Mitch Trubisky in Detroit taking on the Lions. That's part of our double dip today that's coming up on the other side of Football Night in Detroit, presented by Lyft.
Thank you for watching Football Night in Detroit, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Today, the guys recap all the first half action with highlights and analysis and get you ready for the second half.
And it's a touchdown!
The Lexus Halftime Report. Today, live on NFL Network.
When the Bears and Lions first started playing football in the National Football League, Herbert Hoover was president, and Steve Mariucci was being bar mitzvahed. Happy Hanukkah, Mooch.
Thank you, Rich. Yeah.
This is how legends are made.
Welcome to Football Night in Detroit, presented by Lyft.
Week 15, 2 Saturdays before Christmas 2017. And it kicks off with Mitchell Trubisky of the Chicago Bears coming off of their most impressive road win of the season against the Cincinnati Bengals, trying to make it a couple in a row and put a major crimp in the playoff hopes of Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions, one of 3 teams entering this Saturday at 7-6 on your docket, with 2 7-6 teams battling it out for the AFC West in the second part of our double dip tonight between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers in Kansas City. I am Rich Eisen, along with Steve Mariucci and Michael Irvin. The playoff picture kicks off this edition of Football Night in Detroit in the afternoon, taking on, presented by Lyft, by the way. The Lions are one of 3 teams in the NFC at 7-6 themselves. The Packers, who activated Aaron Rodgers over an hour ago, taking on Carolina in Carolina tomorrow. The Cowboys wrap up tomorrow's game slate on Sunday night, taking on the Raiders. And you have got a big game in Detroit to kick it all off on this weekend. Randy Moss is sidelined for us. Randy?
Rich, 'tis the season for all the various playoff probability models. The one that I consulted calculates that if the Lions win today, then they win next week against the Bengals in Cincinnati, and they close out the season back here at Ford Field with a win against the Packers and presumably Aaron Rodgers. Their chances of making the playoffs, 57%. Of course, a loss in any of those games, and the old bottom falls out of that percentage category. Certainly the Lions players understand what's at stake, but head coach Jim Caldwell couldn't resist this week, reminding that, yeah, the Bears may be 4-9, but included in that 4 wins against the Panthers, the Ravens, and the Steelers.
Well, the problem for the Lions this year is right after the coin toss, their team defers pretty much. I mean, the first quarter this year has been a large Honolulu blue hole. Only twice have they led after the first quarter. The season started, if you recall, down 14-0 to Arizona when they had problems on special teams and on offense. Stafford's first pass of the year after becoming the highest paid player in the league was an interception. So the first quarter has been a major problem. How do you avoid it when you're in week 15 and it appears to be a trend here, Steve?
Well, you look at it and look at it and look at it, and they're great in the fourth quarter. I mean, Matthew Stafford has 32 game-winning drives. That leads the league since '09. They're great then. So you study, you do analytics, you self-scout. What are we doing in the first quarter that's not right? So you look at your first 15, Mike, your openers, your opening script, and say, why are we not getting any production, yards or points out of this? And it maybe is because, well, and I looked at it too. They only have one touchdown. Finally, against Tampa, they scored a touchdown last week. They had 4 games in a row without a touchdown in the first quarter. Stafford started 13 for 13. A lot of short passes with that bad hand, but it was penalties and turnover. You got to eliminate that poor football, the run play for a 3-yard loss, the sack, the penalty, those sort of things. Their opening script is pretty darn good. They just haven't executed coming out of the gate properly.
Yeah, when you move the ball, you're 14th in red zone. You get down there, we're not getting the touchdowns, and they need the touchdown. But I'm gonna tell you something, Coach. Those 32 fourth quarter game-winning drives. For some reason, it just seems like that Matthew Stafford likes coming from behind. He loves being in that situation where he gets to just throw the ball. It's like, let's throw all of this logic out the window. Now I get to toss this ball around the yard, and it seems like that's where he plays his best football.
My best golf shots are from the rough and behind a tree. Because
I don't know
I find
because
you're there a lot. Because I'm there a lot. that may be the situation with Matthew Stafford. He's been there a lot, so he likes to play that way and he excels that way. It'd be much better to start fast and then maybe run the ball and win the game. Right? They have trouble doing both. Ziggy Ansah is up and active. There was a question about it this week, so he's going to be hunting some Trubisky.
Drilled. Diving catch, Megatron, touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Sometimes you just got to look to the heavens and say, wow.
Football Night in Detroit is presented by Lyft. It matters how you get there. Download and ride today.
Get your game day started Sunday at 7 a.m. with NFL Game Day Morning. Aaron Rodgers returns, but will he be able to run the table and get the pack back to the postseason? The Patriots head to Pittsburgh looking to bounce back from a bad loss. Michael Irvin will let you know who gets one step closer to home field advantage. Plus, it's Rams versus Seahawks with first place on the line.
You're a banged-up defense right now.
Maybe you're tired, maybe you're weak, maybe you're hungry. We'll find a way somehow.
Mooch sits down with Pete Carroll. NFL Game Day Morning starts Sunday at 7 a.m. Then at 9, it's Rich and the gang taking you right up to kickoff.
Weekly Pick'em game presented by Alexis. You should go to NFL.com/Pick'em. And on tomorrow's NFL Game Day Morning, I believe I'm 3 behind her with 45 left on the docket. I'm going to get aggressive. Lone wolf. Heads up. Oh, yeah. Okay. Aggressive.
Mitchell Trubisky goes to work under center. He's got a man down the left side. He's got Cohen on a bullseye throw. Rookie to rookie. Trubisky to Cohen.
Nice job by Mitchell Trubisky, having patience behind his protection.
Drops it in the bucket. The penalty is in. Touchdown Bears.
Okay, so it all started on draft night in Philadelphia when everyone was shocked when the Bears traded up from 3 to 2 to take Mitchell Trubisky. And then all summer long, we watched him struggle during preseason. Everybody thought, okay, maybe he's a bust because he's not starting over Mike Glennon. And then they had no choice during the middle of the first parts of the season to go and start. And as you can see, those are the numbers he takes into this game today. His first game against an opponent he's already seen in his career. Have we seen enough through 9 games to say the Bears have found their franchise quarterback?
You know, all you want to see in a rookie quarterback once he starts playing is improvement. And keep in mind, he only had 13 starts in college, all right? So now this is his 10th start. But you look at the last couple of games, and you say, geez, this guy's completing 79% of his passes. Yeah, a lot of them are short. That's fine. Complete passes, and 113 passer rating. Let's take a look at, they're using him smart. All right, here you fake a little jet sweep and move him out of the pocket. This is one of the things he does very well, and run a keep. You got a running back in the flat, number one. You got tight end, and you got receivers coming on the over. The other receiver's going to take out two, the corner and the safety. He's on the move. He throws the ball from the run very well, and here's Josh Bellamy for a 36-yard gain. I like it. Now, this is something he didn't do a lot in college. Play action pass. You turn their back to the quarterback. But look at, he sticks this ball out, big ball fake, and you bet those linebackers suck up in here, and now you got to refocus and find the defense with your eyes. And he steps in the pocket, he throws a dart to Adam Shaheen. This is improvement now. Play from the pocket as a youngster. The play action is fairly new to him. Move him around because he's good at it, and you've got yourself a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, and did you see? You see, he looks like he's a franchise quarterback. When they first put him in preseason, and I watched, I was like, okay, you got your guy now. Let's start getting things around him. Absolutely, they found their franchise quarterback. I was joking about it earlier when I said, well, he looks like he's from Chicago. He just looked like a Chicago Bear dude. But reality, it is a compliment because he looks like one of those tough kids, one of those gritty kids that'll do well. They absolutely have found their quarterback.
I misspoke or got it wrong during my setup to that. He did have a great preseason where everybody thought, let's get him, let's throw him a parade on Michigan Avenue. It was in the 21st century advent of the live tweeting and blogging of practices and training camp where he had multiple fumbles in a row and he had trouble finding receivers. I mean,
but Rich, I remember Troy Aikman that first year. We went 1-15 with Troy Aikman now, but I knew right now. I said, hey, we got something with this dude. We just got to get everything around it, and it gives you hope seeing how he handles not just the playing on the football field, but everything, how he is around the guys and everything. I really like what they've got.
Yeah, you're talking about his physical qualifications, yes, that shows on occasion during the games, and then his intangibles will show up. His leadership skills, Mike, his work ethic, his how he gets it, how he bounces back from a pick, and something good. I mean, he's got it.
Yeah, and don't forget, he pretty much had only one full season at North Carolina coming into this year when he was chosen second overall. Let's check out today's starting lineup presented by Lyft. Michael?
You get him a whiz kid in there, man. That's all I'm saying. Let's get away from that, though. Let's get away from that. Let's talk about today the guy that's running that ball right behind him right there, Jordan Howard. 125 rush yards in a TD versus Detroit in Week 11. This man is fourth in the NFL with 1,032 yards, which is just an incredible season. He has had back-to-back consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. Jordan Howard, that's the man right there for sure.
I'll talk about the man here, Ziggy Ansah. I love that name from BYU. All right, he was questionable coming into this game with an ankle, but yeah, he's playing. He's got the grays on right now. He missed the first game versus the Bears this season, but you know what? He's playing against Mitchell Trubisky for the first time. He wants a piece of him.
It all starts from the Detroit Lions with the king lion, the real lion of the jungle right there is Matthew Stafford, man. 9 wins versus the Bears in his career. That's most for any Lion quarterback in the history of the team right here. He's only 317 yards shy of his coach's seventh straight 4,000-yard season. Yeah, boy, that came quick.
The Bears defense has to show up, and Akeem Hicks leads the Bears with 7 sacks this season, 14 tackles for loss. That's 6th best in the National Football League. And if the Bears have any chance, they've got to pressure Matthew Stafford with Akeem Hicks.
An outrage. We don't even mention the kickers. An outrage. For people too. You know, I mean, they're starters too. They might win the darn thing today in Detroit, Michigan. Moments away from the 15th Saturday double dip kickoff. Never miss an NFL game. Watch live, local, and primetime games with NFL Mobile only from Verizon. Tonight, Chiefs and the Chargers. Phillip Rivers is going to start consecutive game 189. That's the longest streak in the league. Matthew Stafford is third, making his 109th consecutive start today. That's 100 7 more than Eli will have tomorrow. It's time to say who's winning today, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Think about that.
I say the Detroit Lions win this game, and I say they win it by the final of 27-14. What do you say, Steve Merritt?
Oh, I thought you were going to copy my cards. I'm going to say the Detroit Lions win at home against a rookie quarterback 27-17, Mike.
Oh, everybody, that's pretty close now. And I got Detroit, of course, but my score is going to be perfect, which is 28-13. But it's pretty close. We all got them 27-28.
Okay,
close.
We shall see.
Yeah. We have the same number of points, Mike.
Yeah.
We got that.
Yeah, total.
I'm telling you,
Right,
I'm
right
so
there.
coming for you in the picks. I just got to start changing it up. I get aggressive starting tomorrow. But we've got a kickoff in Detroit, Michigan. Enjoy Lions. Bears. We'll see you at halftime.
Football.
Let's go. Wait a little day, it's time to hit the lines. Bears and the Lions in the Saturday fight. Just clap your hands and stomp your feet and sing it. We're about to rumble, it's a game to see. Crank up the volume, scream along with me. Get in your stance and rap your team and sing it. I don't know what you've been told, but football make you lose control.
Merry week 15 to all, even old Scrooge. We got Pats and Steelers, and this one is huge. And on Sunday night, in Oakland, we will be. Can Cowboys stop the beast? We shall see. But the weekend starts now. Kick back in your chairs. It's an NFL special. The Lions and the Bears. Let's go!
Time to get it started tonight. The NFL will get you crazy and wild. You know it's going down. This is how we do it now. Throw it up and show you how to go. Come on, put your hands in the sky. Win or lose, you better put up a fight. Oh yeah, it's going down. You know what I'm talking about. A little bit louder now. You know what I'm talking about. Even though it's going down now.
Middle of December, Saturday afternoon, downtown Detroit bustling with holiday cheer and a sellout crowd filing into Ford Field to see their Detroit Lions. And the face of the franchise, quarterback Matthew Stafford, set to take on the newcomer in this division rivalry. Number 2 pick, Mitchell Trubisky of the Chicago Bears on this NFL Network Saturday afternoon special. Hi, everyone. Mike Tirico. Welcome to downtown Detroit. First of a doubleheader here on the network. The Chiefs and Chargers for the AFC West lead will follow us in prime time tonight. Lions got to get this one plain and simple. If Detroit wants any hope of getting back to the playoffs where they were last year, probably have to win the last 3 and get some help. They've had a streaky season, but did win last week in Tampa. Meantime, Chicago's going to miss the playoffs for the 10th time in 11 years. It's an odd season because the Bears have some good wins. They beat Baltimore, they beat Pittsburgh, beat Carolina, some good teams. And last week, they had their best performance of the season against Cincinnati. They bring in the Hall of Famers, Super Bowl winning quarterback. I've known Kurt Warner for about 20 years. Nice to finally work with you.
Yeah, we've had some great memories together. It's nice to finally do some work with you.
Yeah, let's talk about Mitchell Trubisky, the number 2 overall pick. He's had 9 starts. Tell me what you're seeing in the development of the Bears rookie quarterback.
Well, Mike, it's impossible to live up to the expectations of being the number 2 pick. So you're looking for progress. And that's exactly what I've seen from Mitch Trubisky. Every week, getting a little bit better, watching them expand the playbook a little bit. So I'm looking forward to today. Do they expand that? Does that trend continue?
You talk about all the things with Detroit. They got to win right now. What does that mean? Number 9, face of the franchise, Matthew Stafford. He's going to have to carry it on his back.
Well, I'm not sure any quarterback has ever been asked to do more than Matthew Stafford through the entirety of his career. But it doesn't seem to matter that not much of a running game, no problem. Up and down defense, no problem. Put it on my shoulders, and once again, he's got him in the playoff race.
And play through injuries. Hurt his hand a couple of weeks ago. Good last week. Says he's feeling good for this one. But the guys around him are banged up. For more on that, good afternoon to Heather Cox.
Hello, Mike. Last week, for the first time in more than 2 years, the Lions didn't give up a sack. But, Mike, that could prove to be a bit trickier tonight, considering that they're using their 9th different offensive line combination of the season. Center Travis Swanson and right tackle Rick Wagner are both out with injuries, which means that there's going to be some shuffling. So Corey Robinson fills in at right tackle. That means left guard Graham Glasgow slides over to center, a position he has played at times, and Joe Dahl moves into the left guard spot for his first first career NFL start. Now, quarterback Matthew Stafford said it isn't a concern with who's in front of me, saying, I can't worry about those guys. They need to do their job just like I need to do my job. And Mike, remember that it's been 65 consecutive games since the Lions have had a 100-yard rusher. That, too, could be a bit trickier tonight, considering all the changes up front.
A lot of history there, a lot of history in this rivalry. They've been playing this for 9 decades. Two of the great cities in the Midwest, Chicago and Detroit, next on NFL Network.
Thank you for watching Football Night in Detroit, presented by Red. Whether you're headed to the game or headed to the store for 7-layer dip, it matters how you get there.